the screen, and it doesn't really matter how it looks. You will have to find the icon for Romexi. This is the way that it should look, and then you double click on it. You have to wait until it comes up this window, and then over here you're going to add a patient. You're going to put all the information for yourself: name, last name. You don't really have to put the perfect date of birth, but you should put an ID as well. Not necessarily the real ID, but if you put an UFID, it's better. So populate only here: person ID, first name, last name, date of birth, gender, because the more you fill this one, it's easier to find your scan later. So let's imagine that we have already done this part. Then you save, and then it should show up here. Okay, so in my case, if you already have done it and you need to take pictures for your digital project to be submitted, you just have to, instead of adding again a patient, of course you're going to add here the name of the patient. I didn't have to type much because we don't have so many scanners at this point, because we have started with this software 2 weeks ago. So this is the patient I decided to have. And it doesn't matter how many cases you have here. If you're going to do a new case, you only have to click on scan. Sorry, it takes a little bit. And this is the window that we are going to observe for first time. Then you're going to notice that we don't have to do the selection of the tooth and the material from the beginning. This is a different software. And even though it's an update, it looks very different than previous software. In this screen, you're going to observe that you have on the top few windows. They are the main important windows. You have scan, margin, design, mill, analyze, and send. And on the bottom, you have scans and you have alignments. The main important thing is that you choose from this window, what are you going to do? If you're going to do a pre-op scanning, that's what you're going to select. If you want to copy the anatomy of the other side of the tooth, antagonist tooth, or whatever tooth you want, your wax up or the previous tooth before fracture, you can do a pre-op. That's a different story. But for this lab, sim lab, we are going to just click on restorative, and that's what you're going to scan. Keep in mind that in the future in clinic, you can also do scan body. The scan body is for implants. You can do non-restorative. It is just to analyze and to do just digital comparisons between models. But in this case, as I said, we are going to click on restorative, and then you need to follow what it shows here. If it shows here upper first, you're going to do upper first. It says upper prep. It does not mean that you have a prep on the upper. It just means that this is the upper tooth. You see the maxilla here, and this is your mandible, lower prep. So let's imagine that you have a prep on the lower. Yes, we will call this lower prep. And the antagonist opposite arch is not going to have the prep, but is going to be called upper prep. So do not get confused with this. If the software shows you for you to do upper first, you're going to do upper first, regardless if the prep is on the top or on the bottom. If the software shows you that is this lower, then you will do lower. So just read what the software asks for, because if you don't do it the way that the software is expected you to do, then glitches come up. All right, so let's choose upper at this point and observe how it is supposed to be scanning. I guess that you have been observing this from the beginning while I was talking. And then on the right side, you have the panel. There is no hidden buttons. You can have gray out buttons, and you can have pop-up buttons, icons. and that's what you're going to click on, whatever is from the top down. Once that you have the scanner, many of these icons that are grayed out at this point are going to pop up. The real settings, try not to mess with this, okay? It is alignment sounds chosen, scan sounds chosen. There is not much to choose from. It's only one music, common music, and it's the same. So try not to mess up with this part, okay? You can have a small window size, you can have a low LED intensity or a high LED intensity. So try not to touch it. On the margin, this is supposed to be the setup for every computer, but if somebody has messed up with this one, then come back to this margin line size and margin point size and the undercut angle. So those are settings that are supposed to be the calibration for every computer. We don't touch this, not even us. Okay. In the design, that's also the settings. This is the basic settings. And then in the mill, it goes only to the Planmeca milling machines. And you can see also what colors means. Okay. All right, so let's get out of here and let's scan. First of all, observe the positioning of the scanner. It is not the right way as it is right now. This is the right way that we can place the scanner when we are scanning. So the tip is up and it's slanted down. The base is slanted down and the tip is up, not backwards. Okay, so we are going to scan. The first thing that you have to notice is that in the icon from the scanner, at the beginning, it looks gray. And if this cord is not well connected, this cord at the base of a scanner is not well connected, it will show gray. Once it is good connected and is warm enough, it will change to yellow and then it will change to green on the top of the yellow. When it is yellow and green, it's when it's ready. We have the bottom and we have the top. Is the top the one that we have to click on? Okay, so let's do as they ask. We will do again, we will do the top because it's asking for the top first, right? And the way that we will do is from distal of the prep that you have towards front, then you will hover on the buckle and then you come to the lingual. That's the way to go. Let's do it. The first picture has to be the prep distal to the preparation. And that should be enough. Okay, we have generated the model on the top. Now we are going to scan the lower prep. You click on the lower prep, and again, we have to be on the distal of the prep. If our prep is 30, we hover on the top 31. And then you move forward, then you move to the buckle, and then you move to the lingual. Let's do it. We need to do occlusos, vocals, but we need to have a good rim of the touch gingiva. And then we go to the buccal bite. You can generate the model now, or you can generate the model later. And the last thing to do will be the buccal bite. Listen very carefully to the sound. It will sound a click for the top bite, and it has to sound another click for the bottom bite. If you don't hear the both clicks, you do not have a buccal bite correctly. Let me see if I can get more of the sound. Let's do it. You can stop the scanner at the space bar. You can stop the scanner also in the button. As you can observe, we have the bite. You will have an overlapping of blue and the pink color of the gingiva, and the blue and the white color of the teeth on both, on the top and on the bottom. If you have this, it means that it's right scanned the buccal bite. And you will click on the alignment icon, and if it is not well aligned, you can do the alignment manually, but because this click both times, it was okay to follow beginning. Okay, so now we are all set. We are set with the alignment, we are set with the scanning, and now we are going to move to the margin so that you can see the icons on the top. You have scan, margin, design, mill. When I say that we are going to move to the design, then it means that I just hover over it and click on it. So there is not much of difficulty here. You just go from scan to margin, from margin to design, from design to mill. Alrighty, so that's what you're going to have. We have click from the scan to the margin. We click one time, and now you have here your upper prep, your lower prep. So let's do our margin on the lower prep. But before we do the margin, let's review what we have here. We have here this icon, which is the color mode. You can do the margin with this color or with this color. I like to do it with the real color teeth. Here you have a slice panel that you can use to observe the thickness in cross section, and here you can mark the prep that you're going to do at this point, or you can go straight to the margin, but still you have to choose the prep that you're going to do. You can also click on this little icon and it disappears, or you can disappear that or fade it away if you don't want to see it. Okay, that's pretty simple. That's like static software. Okay, so let's go to what we have to do, which is selecting what we are going to do. We are going to do an onlay, but this time I'm going to try to do it as a crown. Let's see how it works. Why? Well, because at least in the old Romexi software, if we trick the system that's saying that it was an onlay, a crown instead of an onlay, it gives us a better proposal, a better autogenesis for the crown. So this is tooth number 30, and we are going to do Ivoclar. We have other brands like Vita for some of the blocks that are going to be for maybe resin composite instead of ceramic, or resin composite reinforced with ceramic. You have Straumann for when we are going to do any implant, crown provisional. You also have the Vita, you have the GC. This time we are going to do Ivoclar because we are going to mill with Imax or with Empress. So you click on Ivoclar and you select material. You can do Imax CAD or you can do Empress CAD. The difference I have already said in my PowerPoints, but Imax will be purple color at the beginning, and then you have to crystallize them and convert it into a ceramic looking white color, or A1, A2, A3, B1, whatever you have chosen. Empress, you don't have to crystallize. You will mill and it will look not purple, it will look as it is going to be the end result for you to cement. For SimLab, we are going to use Empress. For real teeth, we are going to do Imax in the future in clinic, most likely because it's strong and it is aesthetic. You can also do Empress. Empress is also nice, but it has a little bit less of mechanical properties. So let's go to Imax CAD. Then you're going to do select translucency. You have high translucency, low translucency, or MT, medium translucency. And medium translucency will let the color of the tooth to show through if you cement with a neutral cement, and it's going to look nice. If you do low translucency, pretty much it's going to be very opaque regardless of the cement that you're going to use, and you will not have a chance to mimic a natural tooth. And high translucency will be even nicer, but it is weaker as well because it has more glass and it has less strength. So let's go in this time, and because we are going to do Empress, I'm sorry, we don't have to select the medium translucency. We only have two choices. So let's do the LT, and the shade is going to be, let's say, A1. So what it matters here is the selection of the size of the block. The colors is something for us to keep in mind for the lab purposes, so that the lab can read what you have selected for them to do. Imax is the purple color one. At the beginning of the milling, you will have a purple crown on only. And then the purple color has to be crystallized to become a white color ceramic. That takes time. That is longer, but Imax has better mechanical properties for the type of people. Like for example, a bruxer, is better to do Imax. Empress, the difference will be that you're going to have already, after milling, you're ready to cement. That's it. You don't have to crystallize, you don't have to put it in the oven. So let's create this. Now zoom in, okay? Do not click on the mouse right or left before zooming in. We are going to do the margin. We zoom in, get closer to our prep. Okay, if you click on the mouse by mistake, you're going to have to trace the whole margin around and delete it if you click maybe outside the margin. Okay, so now we click wherever you want to start. The system is a little bit slow, so let's start whatever we see the margin light of refraction better. Okay, it's a little bit stubborn. Let's do it here. I'm not sure if I'm perfect, right? But we are going to work together around that. The system is slow, I'm sorry. Sometimes it should be faster, but I don't know why. With the right button click, you will move the model. And with the left click, you will click the margin. You can always adjust. Do you understand why you have to have not a bevel margin? Because if you have a bevel margin, you don't know where to place this trace. This margin goes a little bit up and down. If you want to zoom in, you have to press on the wheel down to move the model up and down. Okay? I know that you're going to ask why it is black, and the answer is I don't know. I will have the answer after I talk to Romexi's people. In the other system, we were able to remove the tooth neighbor and be able to access directly. We will be able to see this, but after we are finished with the restoration. Do you understand now why you have to have a good buccal clearance and a good gingival clearance? Because it will give us more room to observe where is our margin and to trace properly. If this window bothers you, you can click down here and remove it from your view. I'm doing right click right now to be able to see a little bit in a different direction. Once that you finish, then you will be able to pretty much have the whole outline of the margin. And then you start looking from every view. You see it from this view, you see it from occlusal view. Okay, you can delete the margin if you don't like it, or if you committed a mistake trying to trace it. Okay, I think the margin is pretty good. Maybe I can add another dot here and close it. Here the light of reflection seems a little bit higher, so I can click on it. I can also drag my dot wherever I have it and whatever I want it. Here is too high, then you can lower a little bit. So you move it around and around and around until you are happy with the margin. Hopefully the day that you're going to be doing this, the machines are going to be working and they're not going to be too slow. Also, if you want to do faster and the machine do not get frozen, it's better to scan the prep, one tooth in front, one tooth on the back, and enough attached gingiva. If you do that way, probably the machine is going to move faster. Maybe my scanners were too long. And that's something that we have to work on, each of us, to do better scanners in faster times. Okay, so we have all of this. We check everywhere. If, for example, here you're not sure, you can click another dot. By clicking on the blue line, you have another dot. Then you can drag the dot and move it to where the light of reflection is, where you believe it is your margin. If you in clinic, if you do use the multifluted carbide round end taper burr that you have in the operative burr block, you will be able to shine enough smooth your prep to the point that it will give you a light of reflection. It's like polish but without polishing, because the polishing with rubbers, we cannot do it because silica dust particles can detach from the rubber cups and it will interfere with bonding. But you can do smoothing. You have to smooth so that we can see better the margin. And here I'm talking a lot doing this, but the idea is that you know all of this for clinic. Okay, so you observe this little thing. This is the path of insertion, and if I had in this prep an undercut, it will show it. So let's imagine, okay, here it is. It depends. Okay, imagine that you have a path of insertion that from the beginning it shows this undercut here and this undercut here. So all what you have to do is to observe this and move it towards a position where you don't have the undercut anymore, and that will be your path of insertion. And you have to pretty much memorize what is your path of insertion, so that when you're going to cement, you cement that way, so that it goes all the way down and fit properly. Okay, so we have this part already ready, and now we move to the design button. We don't have much to do here. We have the path of insertion, we have the margin. We can also do on and off. We can add a segment. If you don't like it, you can add a segment in whatever position you want to add. Imagine that you didn't like a piece. Well, then you can add a segment and redo it. Okay, so now we go to the design. For the design, then you observe this prep. You have two choices. You can do on your own in on your own order, or you can click on this icon on the top and do a guided workflow by the system. But before we do all of that, I like to do the model orientation. On this icon you click, and then you will orientate as the prep was. Well, sometimes it doesn't move fast. Okay, so you can move this guy over here, then as you can tell, the system is very slow and it doesn't obey to my movements. It's supposed to be easier, but when it gets slower, we just need to wait. Okay, this is the orientation that I think is the best at this point. You can always readjust right here. If you press the wheel, you will be able to move up and down. And if you press the right click, you will be able to move side to side. So you figure your ways. It's easy. Then you apply whatever you think is best. And now you follow this little man. First thing that we have to do is we select the tooth from the model. Okay. I'm sorry. We don't have a model, a pre-op. That's what we click when we are going to do a pre-op. So just go to the library because we don't have a pre-op. We are going to select library C. We place the tooth. And that's what we get. So now you have a bunch of icons here that if you want to play around, you will play around. This is a preset, a pre-design, okay? If you want to have the final design, you have to click on the attach restoration. But before you attach restoration, normally you have to work a lot in the pre-design before doing that. So, but this one come to happen perfect. It has good embrasures. Wow, it has a big hole here. Either I didn't touch the tooth. I don't think so. Is that a real hole? Oh my goodness, you see? Okay, so you have cover your cusp, you have the buccal where it's supposed to be buccal, you have the lingual where it's supposed to be lingual. If you want to see your upper prep, you come here to the upper view. Here you do not see it, so make sure that this is not crossed out. You have to remove the cross out, and then you have to increase the strength so that you can see the bite. In this case, the bite is there. I like to see the bite half of intensity, like here, and then you observe the bite also on this view. Those buttons, I don't know what they show, but you have to be careful not to click quickly, because if you click quickly and the mouse is not working at the pace that you're working because the system is slow, then you can do the wrong selection. If you do any wrong selection, you can always come to this button, which is the undo. This is my favorite button in every system. Do you see how the cusp are going through the bite? It means that you are going to have high contacts here. If you click on the contacts at this point, you will see how high they are. Why? You don't have room between the upper and the lower, right? How do I know? First of all, because I see it visually. Yeah, so visually I see how they go through the bite. Yeah. Okay, so if I want to do some adjustments, you can start doing adjustments depending on your views and depending on what you want. You can also do it in this color selection. I don't like it. I like blue. I want to make sure that my pre-design is blue to observe better. So if you have this from the beginning in the pre-design, I would suggest you to remove a little bit. But how do I know how much I'm going to remove? You can go with the section, cross section, and this cross section ring can be moved all the way from here to distal. And if you also move this way, you can do cross section from buccal to lingual. I like this cross section here, and I move it to where it is the highest point. Right there is the highest point. Now I try to move my model to be able to observe my bite. Then I do right click and I try to move my model in a direction that I'm able to see my bite from buccal view, right? So I can center my model, and now I can see here how it is crossing over my buccal. I have two choices. I can smooth it with the button that says smooth, which is this icon. I can also rubber with this button. So I click on rubber. It has to show that is hover. You can select the strength of the brush, the strength of how much you're going to move. If you want to move little, then you can go here. If you want to move a lot, you can go here. I kind of like it past 50%, and also the strength, kind of same thing, 50%. You can see how the computer is slow. In SimLab it should be better. I think it's my connection here in my office. So let's wait until the system let me. It's kind of thinking. You see how it's thinking? Yeah, okay. Okay, I cannot drag this button. 1 second, guys. Never mind. So let's do it with this strength. Move a little bit down until you see that it went below the buccal cusp on the top. You can also see this, and this can give you a more accurate measurement. You see how this line here overlaps? So this line here that overlaps, it is the upper cusp bite. And if I want to see better my upper model, I can do this. You can perfectly see how it overlaps. So as I said, I like this way. So I got my red portion that is high, then I go and I rubber down a little bit. When it's not thinking, I can do it whenever he likes me to do it. Pretty much the system is a little bit stubborn sometimes. I move it down and down and down and down. Okay, so at least at that point you can see how I change my height. Here I still have a little bit high, then I move down, down, down until I don't see that big height. If I want to go here, remember we have to zoom out. We remove this to be able to see better, then we get the ring and we go back. And then we will be able to see how much down we have to go. Yeah, because of the overlapping. You don't have to have a perfect design, okay? It is marking high here because it is overlapping with the tooth, but that's not part of your prep. Okay, so it seems okay. It seems that it didn't cover the embrasures, so it's empty embrasures. You have your gingival embrasures right. You have kind of your occlusal embrasures right. You can see that it's not covering up to the margin. It's kind of low here, but it doesn't matter. This is just a pre-design. When do I know that my design is not a pre-design anymore? Well, when I attach the restoration. I have not attached the restoration, then I have no problem. Here, this is the bite. It's actually an open bite there. We don't have much of contact. We can also get selectively, we can get all of this done in a combo tool. So for now, let's move on. Just we already play enough with this selection. If you want to go and check in another way, we can go and select in another way here. So now we are going to do buccolingual cross sections, and then you will be able to see your thickness of the prep from top to the base of your prep. And then you can get your ring and move it all the way from distal to mesial and see if you have enough thickness all around. Okay, so let's get out of the selection. Slice plane, it's for now over. When it gets crazy and it doesn't obey what you're doing, as right now, we have just to wait. We wait, and then we can remove now the upper prep because we don't need it at this point. And now we can do attach restoration. We are going to do the same exactly thing. After we attach restoration, sadly it didn't change colors, so it's hard for us to remember whether or not we have the pre-design or the final design. In the previous software it changed colors, and then you can tell if you were in the right screen doing the final touch-ups or if you were not. You wait until it let you play. Yeah, super slow. Just wait. Until it let you. Observe here on the inside, it's like you're taking an impression, a real impression, an analog impression. So you see here all your margins, you see here everything that you need. Right now here is a little bit bulgy. It's not going to pretty much mill this way, but we can smooth these margins. But the best I can tell is done when you touch less. The more you touch, the more complications you can bring. I think it's a very good anatomy, way better than other times that I have seen ugly designs because the system gets glitches. It's a new system. So, alright, let's see the contacts. When we click on the contact, you can see this color is what I want. I don't want to see this green. So if I do rubber, I will destroy the preparation. You can see how it looks now. It looks a dimple, a fossa, where it should not have been. So you don't use rubber to remove the contacts. You have other ways. If you don't have the sectional panel, slice panel, don't do the rubber. At least not to remove contacts. So let's undo. Now we have this. There is a icon here at the bottom that says snap occlusion. And when you click on it, it immediately removes the contacts. And it gives good contacts. Okay? And this is the contacts for the occlusion, but now you see here the contact for the neighbor tooth. To do that one, you should click on the snap interproximal. It should help. If it didn't help, no worries, the system have glitches, you have to do manually stuff. So you remove your lower prep to be able to see your contact, and then ideally we should have green color. So we can smooth in this bottom, and you can increase the strength here to maybe half past 50%, and you touch one time to smooth, or you touch several times. That would be enough. Then I can bring back my prep, and I have there my contact. I can bring up my upper prep, but with slide fade away, and now I'm able to see everything through. What is missing right now at this point? So let's remove my bite. I'm missing the thickness. So let's remove the bite. And now let's place the thickness in this button. Anything blue is good, anything green it's okay, but it's better blue. And anything red means that you have not much of thickness of ceramic. So it means a bevel, or it means that it's just the margin. The margin should be just here. So I see that it's not good over here, right? So let's see what is happening. We go to slice. We click on slice. We zoom out to see where is our ring. We go straight here, and let's see what is happening. So if we place now the upper prep, we see here this is my top cusp, and this is 0 thickness, but I have room, so I can rubber this tooth, or I can drop. I can get my drop, and I can add a drop here. I go to the brush size, and now I add. When the system let me, of course. It's not letting me. Let's wait. Okay, it's not letting me. I'm going to move to the rubber. The system apparently is smart. Whatever the system believes is better is what it's going to allow you to do. So now I'm moving my restoration up. It stopped moving because it is slow. So you do this, but don't go too far, because you don't want to have a head contact later, right? So now let's move to here. Had a little bit also of red. I was able to see the red, so we come here, and this red we need to increase a little bit more, but we cannot have it too bulgy, right? So we can just go back and rubber down. Snap occlusion again, and then just rubber. You smooth also the margins by increasing the strength, and then go over the margin itself and smooth. Remove the upper upper antagonist, and go around and smooth whatever big stuff you see. Yeah. It's going to be red at the margin. It's okay. It has to be red. Yeah. Don't touch too much the margin because it will thin it too much. Just touch a little bit. All right. We have finished this, and then this is our final look before sending to the mill. So you see it from occlusal, then right click, see it from gingival, right click, see it from mesial, this contour I don't like it that much, it's kind of bulky. Then we can get the rubber tooth again, and we can slightly get this contour a little bit less over bulk. Just touch a little bit, then right click again, see it now from distal, touch a little bit the bulkiness, see it from occlusal again. I think it's okay. We can always do adjustments on the purple face. Every time you touch and you do an adjustment, go to the smooth button and go past 50% of the strength and smooth whatever you have done so that it looks nicer. Okay. So I think it's ready. What else we need to do? Let's see. View open. Oh, I don't know what is that. Okay. Thickness, contacts. All right. This is combo tool. We can, if you don't have the right dimensions of the onlay when you first do the design, it's good that you do the combo tools, the design. So we were ready actually to mill. Let's see if I can go to the mill. Yeah. It should be said on the screen, success. If it is right, sent to the mill. It can be sent to the old mills or to the new mills machines that we have gotten just recently. Then on the screen, we have to look for our file, select the file, and then follow instructions of the mill. First, place the block, lock the block, and then close the lid.
Any plans for the weekend?
Yeah, operative 3.